I think it's safe to say that it's gonna be a competitive fight. Like it's definitely gonna be a competitive fight. Shakur gonna be on his game. Teo gonna be on his game. Shakur gonna get his hits off. Teo gonna get his hits off. I feel like in the later rounds, I feel like Shakur is gonna be he's gonna pull away with the victory.
Everyone thinks they know exactly how a fight between Shakur Stevenson and Teofimo Lopez would go down. If you spend 5 minutes on Twitter, you'll see the same two narratives over and over again. Half the world thinks Shakur is a boring track star who refuses to engage, and the other half thinks Teofimo is a mental time bomb waiting to explode. We analyze their punch stats, we overanalyze their press conferences, and we pretend to be experts. But the truth is, none of us know what it actually feels like to stand across the ring from these guys. We see the lights and the cameras, but we don't feel the pressure.
Slow, right? Mentally. Oh my God, mentally, okay. I'm talking about I'm slow in the boxing ring, right? Mentally. I'm talking about the boxing ring, what you was talking about. I'm slow, right? Mentally. Okay.
But there is someone who does. Imagine a fighter who is currently undefeated with a perfect 100% knockout ratio. He's been in the ring with Shakur Stevenson. He studied Teofimo Lopez up close. And he isn't just some random sparring partner looking for a paycheck. He's one of the smartest young prospects in the game today. He just broke his silence on this potential super fight. And what he has to say completely dismantles the lazy narratives we've been hearing from the media. He's not predicting this fight based on hype. He's predicting it based on the one thing that actually matters when the bell rings: the mind. So who is this source, and why should we listen to a single word he says? His name is Keith Tsunami Cologne, and on paper he looks like your worst nightmare. He's sitting at 8-0 with 8 knockouts. He doesn't just beat guys, he gets them out of there. But if you think he's just another brawler looking for a headshot, you are completely wrong. This is where the story gets interesting. Keith Cologne is living a double life that almost sounds impossible in modern boxing.
Hype, I'm here with the young phenom, Keith Tsunami Cologne. 8-0 with 8 knockouts. What's going on, champ? How you feeling?
What's going on? Feeling good. How you?
That's it. I'm good, man. I'm ready to see you fight, man. January 10th on the undercard of Sabril Matias and Dalton Smith. Now, how are you feeling? How's training camp going? What are your thoughts going into this big matchup?
I'm feeling good, excited, eager to get in the ring. Training camp been going smooth. It's almost that time to get in the ring. We got like a couple weeks left. I've been training hard, been focused. It's time to, it's about to be the new year, so I want to put on a spectacular performance.
Exactly. Now, talk to me a little bit about your opponent, Alberto Guevara. What do you know about him? Is there anything that you need to be concerned about? Obviously, you have to be concerned about every fighter, but for example, any of his skill set, what are you worried about?
So what I know about him is he's been in the ring with he fought for the world title a couple times. He's been in the ring with a lot of good fighters. He shared the ring with him. He never beat him, but he got experience, and I don't know how he's gonna come. His last fight he got a knockout. I say that to say, with these type fighters, you don't know if they're gonna be at the top of their level or if they just gonna, if it's gonna be an easy fight because they got the experience. They've been in there with top fighters at that level. So it's kind of hard to gauge, but I'm prepared for the best version of him. I've been training hard. I've been on my game.
While he's knocking opponents unconscious on the weekends, he is a full-time student at Rutgers University during the week. He's on track to graduate in the class of 2026. Think about how rare that is. Most fighters are told to eat, sleep, and breathe boxing if they want to make it. They are told that any distraction will ruin their career, but Cologne is flipping that script. He treats the sport like a high-level chess match, using his education to keep his mind sharp and his ego in check. He explicitly says that the balance between school and the gym keeps him from burning out or becoming obsessed with the toxic side of the industry. This is a scholar warrior, someone who analyzes the psychology of a fight just as much as the physical toll. So when a guy like this, who has both the heavy hands to end a fight and the brain to analyze it, tells us what's really going on between Shakur and Teofimo, we need to pay attention.
And definitely not. Now you're balancing, but school and being a professional fighter. You go to Rutgers University. Talk a little bit about that balance and how it keeps you grounded and going into these matchups and for what's going to happen for 2026.
Yeah, it's always interesting how my fights in school play out. Thank God right now I'm on break. You got like the winter break right now, so my fight it'll probably be like the first week of school, so I probably won't even, like it's just like the first welcome in classes, not too much learning. But I feel like it's a cool little balance, because it's like I'm not too like involved into like boxing where, I really feel like you gotta not be 1 foot in, 1 foot out, but you gotta be focused, of course, but like mentally you can't be boxing. It'll drive you crazy, It's like it's almost like an obsession. It'll just drive you crazy because anybody's just gonna want to keep getting better and want to be better. But school kind of take me away from it a little bit, so I be having to focus on my schoolwork, take time to study, and prioritize. So it's like, all right, right now I got tests coming up. Can't even think about boxing. I got tests. I got to study. So it's a cool balance. And I'm gonna miss it once I'm done.
Let's talk about the elephant in the room, Shakur Stevenson. Lately, the public perception of Shakur has taken a nosedive. After his performance against De Los Santos, the fans turned on him. They called him a runner. They called him scared. They said he's ruining the sport with his defensive style. It's easy to say that from the comfort of a couch. But Keith Cologne has a very different memory of sharing the ring with him. Cologne sparred Shakur when he was just 16 years old, and that experience left a permanent mark on how he views the sport.
Switching gears, January 31st, super fight, Shakur Stevenson versus Teofimo Lopez. That's 2 weeks or 3 weeks right after your fight in New York City. A lot of fights coming to the East Coast. You've been in the ring with Shakur Stevenson. You know him better than a lot of fighters. What do you think about this matchup? Who wins this fight, and how close is it?
I feel like now, I've been in the ring when I was like 16. It's been a little while. Yeah. And, I'm sure he's a total different fighter, but I have recently seen Teofimo spar, like a couple years back. He sparred one of the guys from my gym. And, I think it's safe to say that it's going to be a competitive fight. It's definitely going to be a competitive fight. Shakur going to be on his game. Teo going to be on his game. Shakur going to get his hits off. Teo going to get his hits off. I feel like in the later rounds, I feel like Shakur is going to be, he's going to put...
According to Cologne, what looks boring on TV feels like suffocation in the ring. He describes Shakur not as a runner, but as a disciplined nightmare. The thing that people miss, and what Cologne emphasizes, is the mental endurance. Most fighters, even champions, have lapses in concentration. They take a second off. They relax their guard for a heartbeat. Shakur never does. For 3 minutes of every round, he is locked in. Cologne realized early on that you aren't just fighting Shakur's speed, you're fighting a computer that doesn't glitch. That boring style is actually total mastery of distance. While the fans are booing because they want a bloodbath, Shakur is dissecting his opponent with a level of focus that is almost impossible to break. This isn't fear, it's a level of discipline that 99% of fighters simply cannot cope with.
He's going to pull away with the victory just based off being disciplined. At this level, they both skill for skill, they both got skills. You can't take that away from them. But at this level, it's all about, the small details. Who's disciplined, who's able to focus throughout the whole, fight. And just based off of like they past fights, you kind of see Teo sometimes like discipline, but Shakur, he could stay locked in for the 12 rounds. He could stick to his game plan for the 12 rounds, and I feel like that's what's going to separate the winner from the loser. And I feel like Shakur going to be victorious.
Now contrast that laser-like focus with the chaos of Lopez. We all know the headlines. We've seen the bizarre interviews, strange outbursts, and public meltdowns. Teofimo has been through hell publicly. A messy divorce where accusations surfaced about his ex-wife taking half his money and denying him access to his son. Before his fight with Kambosos, he admitted to having dark thoughts, even claiming he wanted to end it all. It's a tragic situation, and it paints the picture of a man who is fighting a war inside his own head every single day.
Died twice last year to really understand, okay, take a step back. What is it that I'm really here for? You know, Mark Twain, two important days in your life is the day you were born and the day you find out why. So, this is it. How do I express more to the kids? It's not about to adults. If the adults want to learn from me, cool. If they don't, I don't care. It's about the youth. I'm thinking about those kids. I have a kid of myself. It's what you give them. See, people trying to give them money or show them that this is how you do it. No, the truth, money is knowledge. When you drop that knowledge on them, you could teach them even more than what you know. You know, and then you can learn from your own child. You know, people are just giving them an apple to bite on. No, you don't know what that apple is actually giving you. You don't know.
How old's your son?
My son is...
Keith Cologne looks at Teofimo and sees all that talent, but he also sees the cracks in the armor. You can't separate the man from the fighter. Cologne points out that this outside chaos bleeds into the ring. He notes that Teofimo relies heavily on his athleticism and his power, but he lacks that 36-minute discipline that Shakur has mastered. You can see it in his fights against disciplined boxers like Sandor Martin. Teo gets frustrated. He gets lazy with his jab. He drops his hands. He tries to force the knockout because he doesn't have the patience to win the chess match. In Colon's eyes, Teofimo's biggest enemy isn't the guy in the other corner. It's his own inability to stay disciplined when things don't go his way immediately.
Being different, you know, he gotta keep, you know, in boxing, he's got 12 rounds. It's a long time. You gotta go into a fight understanding, like, all right, cool. I'm not gonna, like, I'm gonna keep showing this person different looks. It might not work, or he might hit me, but I don't want to get him comfortable with the look, or keep giving him one look that's gonna allow me to win the fight. You know, it's like, all right, I'm gonna give him one look, and I'm gonna give him a little bit what he wants to see, but I'm gonna keep going back to it, and then by like the later rounds, that's when I'm gonna just, you know, take over and assert my dominance. But you know, I feel like that's the key. That's the key to his victory, is keep giving Shakur different looks and being disciplined, man. Like that's the main thing, is be disciplined. You know, shoot your jab, put your other hand up, shoot your right hand, put the other hand up, don't cry. You know, like just a little annoying stuff. And yeah.
So is it impossible? Is the scholar warrior saying that Shakur is unbeatable? Not exactly. Cologne actually lays out a path to victory for Teofimo, but it requires a version of Lopez that we haven't seen in a long time. The only way to beat a computer like Shakur is to scramble the data. Cologne argues that if Teofimo comes in doing the same thing round after round, he will get picked apart. He needs to offer different looks. This means constantly changing angles, switching timing, and making Shakur uncomfortable. He has to turn the boxing match into a fight, but, and this is a massive but, he has to do it without getting sloppy. Cologne emphasizes that Teofimo needs to double down on the basics: a sharp jab, high guard, constant pressure. It sounds simple, but for an emotional fighter like Teofimo, sticking to a strict game plan when you're getting frustrated is the hardest thing in the world. The blueprint is there, but does Teofimo have the mental stability to execute it? That is the million-dollar question.
I think it's really that time for him to really take his first loss and, you know, me whoop his ass to the point where either he quits on the stool or I knock him out. How I see this fight being played out is with me pretty much setting that momentum for the people out there as well. You know, not really trying to force for it. However, I can't be too technical with Shakur. You got to make it a little ugly. You got to make it a little ugly. If you try to be too technical with Shakur, it could be too long of a weighted chess match. You know, certain people don't want to see that. They don't want to see pop shots. You know what I mean? They want to see good action. I have yet to see, and I think you could attest with me, I don't think we have seen Shakur face anyone higher than who he's going to face next, and that's of me. So, you know, I definitely, you know, commend him at least for stepping up to the plate. But I think it's time. I think it's really that time for him to really take his first loss and, you know, me whoop his ass to the point where either he quits on the stool or I knock him out.
You really believe that, you know, because everyone will say, oh man, Shakur is probably one of the best defensive fighters in the game. You really believe you can stop Shakur Stevenson?
Yeah.
When asked to finally pick a winner, Keith Cologne didn't hesitate. He respects the power of Lopez, and he knows that one punch can change everything in boxing. But ultimately, he's putting his money on the guy with the discipline. He predicts Shakur Stevenson wins this fight, and he believes it won't be particularly close on the scorecards. His reasoning goes back to an old saying: hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. But in this case, it's discipline beats chaos. Cologne believes that over the course of 12 rounds, Shakur's ability to stay focused for every single second will simply overwhelm Teofimo's flashes of brilliance. He expects a competitive start, with both guys landing shots, but as the fight goes deep into the later rounds, he sees Shakur taking over. The mental lapses that plague Teofimo are exactly what Shakur waits for. One lazy jab from Teo, one moment of frustration, and Shakur will punish him. It's a victory for the cold, calculating mind over the emotional, explosive athlete.
So the winner of this fight, what does it mean for them in the sport of boxing? Will they be like getting closer to be the face of boxing? They can either fighter, whoever wins, can go into a fight with Devin Haney. You know, the four kings. That's what everybody wants to see. Ryan Garcia is one of the kings. Gervonta Davis, we want to see him fight. We don't know when he'll be back, but most likely the winner will face probably Devin Haney. What do you think this means for the winner, and are they closer to being the face of boxing?
I say yes, but I really feel like the whole Four Kings thing is like, you know, that was a thing, you know, years ago, you know, when everybody was more so around the same proximity and weight classes. You know, Devin fight at 47. Shakur fight at 35. You know, so it's a little jump, you know, so it's interesting on how that might play out. But what I say is, definitely whoever wins this fight will be the face of boxing. And yeah, that's what I say.
Definitely. Now, let the fans know where they can find you, Keith, on social media and everything, so they can get in tune with you. I look forward to watching your fight January 10th. We wish you the best of luck, but let everybody know where they can find you on social media.
You can follow me at Instagram at official Keith Cologne, and on YouTube at Keith Cologne.
That's it, Keith Cologne, the champ. We'll see you January 10th.
All right, appreciate that, my guy.
You got it, brother.
Beyond just this one fight, Cologne offered a fascinating take on the state of boxing today. There is this obsession with the Four Kings: Tank Davis, Devin Haney, Shakur Stevenson, and Ryan Garcia. The media loves to group them together like it's the 1980s all over again. But Cologne thinks that narrative is dead. He points out that these guys are scattered. They are moving to different weight classes, chasing different belts, and playing different political games. The idea that one fight will crown a specific face of boxing is outdated.
Definitely. When you mentioned Terrence Crawford, when Terrence Crawford is retired now, do you think that's a real retirement, or is he going to come back? Is that a negotiating tactic for him to just set himself up to get more money? What do you think about Terrence Crawford coming back?
It can be. You know, I feel like he's retired, but I also feel like, you know, a couple years from now, the right price, it'll bring anybody out. You know, like how Andre Ward, if I'm not mistaken, turned down the Canelo fight. You know, because he was like, nah, I'm done. Like, you know what I'm saying? I just fought Kovalev. It was either Canelo or Trilogy. He's one of those. But then now, you know, years later, he's saying like, hey, I'll come back to fight Anthony Joshua, you know? So it's like for the right piece of change, I feel like anybody will come back, you know, especially real fighters where like they stay in shape, they live in the gym, and they just love the art of boxing.
And speaking of politics, Cologne dropped a truth bomb that aligns him with one of the pound-for-pound greats, Terrence Crawford. He touched on the dirty side of the sport, sanctioning fees. It's a topic most young fighters are too scared to talk about, but Cologne went there. He agrees with Crawford that it is insane for fighters to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars just to wear a belt. The fighters are the ones selling the tickets. The fighters are the ones risking their lives. Why should they pay a fee to an organization just to say they are the champion? It shows that Cologne isn't just watching fight tape. He's watching the business. He's already thinking like a veteran, understanding that the belts don't make the man. The man makes the belts.
Like, I feel like with any organization, I don't care what it is, it should be a certain type of outline, especially if, fighters, we are, we get in the ring. You get what I'm trying to say? We have teams, members on our teams that we had to pay, us paying to wear a belt, is crazy. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, I agree with what he said. Like, they should be paying us. Like when we go in a ring, we have sponsors. They pay us. You get what I'm trying to say? So I feel like it's the same thing. It's like when my hand is raised, and that's the first thing that's being put around my waist. It's like, that's promotion for you guys. That's, think about all the people that's coming here. They not coming here to see a belt. They coming here to see me. But along the way, they see the belt. So that's like, notoriety, more publicity for you guys. So I do agree with them. But you know what it is? It's like it's been around for forever. These is like the rules. And one person saying something is not going to do it. You got to come together as a collective unit. And, that's the only way something's going to change.
In a sport filled with trash talk and fake hype, it is refreshing to hear a breakdown that focuses on the actual science of fighting. Keith Cologne, the Rutgers student with the heavy hands, has laid it out clearly. This potential fight between Shakur and Teofimo isn't a battle of speed versus power. It's a battle of discipline versus instability. Cologne is set to return to the ring on January 10th against Alberto Guevara, and he plans to show exactly what he means by disciplined violence. If his analysis of the game is this sharp, his opponents are in serious trouble. But it leaves us with one final question to think about. In modern boxing, do we undervalue the boring geniuses like Shakur because we are too addicted to the drama of chaos? Let me know what you think in the comments. So, that's all from today's video. If you enjoyed it, remember to leave a like, subscribe, and ring that bell icon so you never miss our upcoming videos. And don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments section. Stay tuned, and we will catch you in the next video.